And welcome into Football Happy Hour, presented by Blitzalytics.com. As always, I am your host, RobRob, and that little cartoon down there in the corner. And like my buddy Cody said in the chat, we're glad that you elected us for your entertainment this evening. So it was the most awesome corny line I've ever heard, Cody. Thank you very much.
I'll keep them coming all night. Just
Zingers,
like
baby. This is why you tune in to Football Happy Hour. We're going to go around the horn, say our good evenings. Jack, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. The world's hopefully not going to burn down tonight. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, wake up in the morning and look like the Lakers won the championship all over again. Mayo, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm just glad we decided to do this show on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. I definitely didn't think about this night and why I'm glad we're doing it, so I don't have to pay attention to Twitter that's probably on fire right now.
Right. So. Welcome to the reprieve from the madness that is election
Welcome
Tuesday.
To the end of the world.
Absolutely. Although I do say it's good to have you guys around because it is just wild out there on Twitter, like Cody said. So, Roy, how you doing tonight, big country?
Hey, doing wonderful. Glad to be back with you guys here. And I think we should be rebranded for the night. We're the Football Electoral College here.
Yeah, we are. We're the only opinion that matters. Damn right. We're going to do what we do for you every week here, guys. We're going to hit you with 4 quarters, 4 topics, plus give you a little overtime because nothing's better than spending a little extra time with your friends, and we'd like to have that portion of this show sponsored. So if you're out there and you're a beer company or anything like that, we'll sponsor it for you. So give us that money. Let's get on into quarter one, where they were way more creative than I would have been. We're going to talk about the trade deadline. You get it? Dead. D-E-A-D. Exactly what the trade deadline was this year. Next to nothing happened. Lots of big names being bandied about. No one moves. I'm actually kind of shocked. To be honest, I thought this was the year we finally see some baseball trades, but didn't really happen that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around the horn, get some opinions on teams who needed to make a move and why they didn't. Jack's got a stellar quote, so I'm going to start him. Jack, tell me about a team that needed to make a move.
The Green Bay Packers just got done getting their asses handed to them by Dalvin Cook alone, but collectively the Minnesota Vikings just got done putting a whooping. They did only lose by 6, but it was downright bad. They did not get better this offseason. They didn't seem to try to get better through the draft. They planned for the future, and apparently they're going to continue to plan for the future because they didn't trade for to add a weapon, add a piece. They needed linebacker help. They needed edge rush help right now. They're not getting it from the Smith brothers, and they definitely need another weapon for Aaron Rodgers, and they didn't go get it. And apparently they could not figure out a trade for Will Fuller. Apparently the Texans were too high on his value. Texans don't value their wide receivers at all, so I don't understand how the value is too high. Like, if you're not willing to give up like a 5th or a 6th, that should be enough. Like, anything more than that, probably wouldn't trade for an injury-prone Will Fuller. But they basically just told Aaron Rodgers that we aren't winning the Super Bowl this year. And they're a good team. They just can't beat specific type of teams that run the ball or teams that are good. Even teams that are bad in their own division. I don't know what the Green Bay Packers are doing, but it isn't trying to win. And so I know they apparently called Antonio Brown, and then Brown told them no, but they should have been desperate to get either Aaron Rodgers some help to make up for the lack of defense or go add a piece to that defense to try and go make a run. They're one of 4 teams in the entire NFL that really have a shot. In the NFC that have a shot at making a run in the postseason, and they're not helping themselves by doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. It feels like they beat the teams they should, but they'll never beat an elite competition. Like, that's what they feel like right now. I do want to ask before I move on, though. Could you see this being like the straw that breaks Rodgers' back, if you will? And like, look, I want out. You guys want Jordan. Let's just call this a day. I mean, because I think some team would pay through the nose to get Aaron Rodgers, even with the cap hit. So a quick once around the horn, do you think this is the straw that breaks Rodgers' back? Start with you, Jack, and then I want both of you other guys to throw in an opinion.
That's a strong-ass camel because there's been so many straws that should have already broke that back. I don't think it's possible. I think he's going to be there past this next season.
Cody?
If they don't go on a deep run, if they just lose in the first round of the playoffs, because they'll probably win the division because the Bears suck, and unless barring some barring some epic run by like the Vikings or Lions, which won't happen, they're going to win the divisions. But say they get like whopped, like say they go against a team with a good running attack like last year and they just get mollywopped. I could see it because I'm going to go ahead and say it. Aaron Rodgers will be the 2021 49ers quarterback.
That's the exact team I wanted to put him at. They're right there, one piece away.
They
probably.
can get out of the Jimmy G contract.
Absolutely. Still cash in and get something for Jimmy G. That's why I brought it up. It smells like San Francisco to me. Roy, real quick, when I see you nodding your head.
I'm just going to go away collusion here. Let's connect all the puzzle pieces together. Cam Newton's struggling. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Let's just flip-flop them. We're going to be trading Aaron Rodgers to San Fran. We're trading Jimmy G back to Bill Belichick, who wanted him anyway.
Exactly. Total anarchy, the way of the world. So let's get some other trade deadline teams who needed to make a move, Cody. First, congratulations on your call to the Seahawks. That was sick. You called that like a month in advance, man. Good job.
The Carlos Dunlap. That one actually kind of works out for both sides because Cincinnati, obviously, they need O-line help, so they got an O-lineman in return. But yeah, that was a little pat on my back, I guess, on calling that. Now, I totally agree. I think if I would point to a team that has a potential run to the Super Bowl, I would point to Green Bay like Jack. But one team that surprised me is and I'm going to talk about them here in the quarter number 2 and more in depth, but the Texans. You're not going anywhere this season.
Yep.
There's always reports like everybody's for sale but 4 players, and then we don't see no movement at all. Will Fuller's on the last year of his contract. I believe Kenny Stills is also on the last year of his contract. You're not going to re-sign those guys, and especially like Will Fuller, like you don't even know what you're going to get with a comp pick because what happens is like you're going to think he's going to get a higher contract than what he's going to get. And you're not even going to get what you're probably offered, and you're going to get like a 6th or 7th round comp pick.
Yeah, it was silly.
You make a good point, Cody. That was the one thing I read today is a lot of reason why some of the trades were stunted is the valuation on draft picks because a lot of front office people think that free agency is going to be kind of suppressed. The numbers ain't going to be as large. So the distinctions in compensatory picks is going to be a lot lower. There's going to be a lot lower, like 5th, 6th, 7th round comp picks. Not a lot of third rounders.
Yeah, right. Yep. I'm 100% with that. And in the back of my mind, I already know the Texans were overcharging because they were trying to get some of what Bill O'Brien threw away back. And that bit them in the ass here. They should have took the picks. They needed those picks. Texans did definitely fail here at the deadline. Should have been sellers. Roy, I come to you. Who should have made a move?
Yeah, for me, there's a couple teams here, but I'm going to give you 2 in particular, and they're kind of on the opposite end of the spectrums. The Philadelphia Eagles just need reinforcements along everywhere because they're a mash unit. Whether it's an offensive lineman they could have brought in, a defensive line rotational piece, a linebacker. I mean, if you want to call him their best linebacker, Nat Gary, who used to be a safety at transition, he's out now on IR. They could have used, a guy like the Steelers picked up, Avery Williamson, in that linebacker room. That was a team I really thought would go out, being that division is wide open. They could have went out and got some reinforcements. And then the opposite end of the spectrum, I was really surprised New England didn't do anything. More along the same line of Houston. They're 2-5. That division, in my opinion, you're not coming back to win that division. Why not sell off a guy like Stephon Gilmore if you can get a 2nd round pick? And shed that cap coming into this offseason where a lot of teams aren't going to be willing to spend. And you come in with even more cap space and kind of make this a 1 or 2 year turnaround for them. I was surprised that we didn't see them maybe auction off some pieces. They went out and got a receiver from Miami. But I just really think I thought they would maybe sell high on Gilmore, being that he wants a new contract.
Yeah, no, again, that was one of the bigger names bandied about. Nothing really came of it. Like I said, just overall a real letdown. There should have been movement this year. It doesn't really make sense as to why there wasn't. There were a few though. So let's go back and talk about some of your favorite trades made during the. Let's say first during the season. If you don't have any, we can go back to preseason, or if we need to kill some time. But let's start with you, Mayo. Favorite trade so far.
For me, this is like it was right before the season started on September 3rd. I thought Cleveland after they lost Grant Delpit and then pulling the trigger, sending a 5th-round pick to Jacksonville for Ronnie Harrison was a great move. He's been a great addition. I know just from watching in depth, especially when they played the Colts. I believe he had the pick 6 on Old Phillip. And he's been making plays in other games too, kind of flying all over the field. So I thought that really helped their defense and some of their matchups that they won to get them to those 5 wins at the beginning of the season. So that's kind of like a sneaky favorite move of mine that I saw.
See a problem, address it. Not that hard, guys. Roy, one for you, man.
Yeah, for me, it was a trade the Titans pulled off here. They got Desmond King, who's a great versatile weapon. He can play safety, he can play nickel corner. He's a great return man, great special teams player. They had a lot of issues with injuries in their secondary and underperforming play, especially with Jonathan Joseph. They kind of released him now today because of this addition. So Desmond King was always a guy that made plays out in Los Angeles for the Chargers in the different facets. So I like that dynamic piece being added to the back end of the Titans because obviously they can't get after the quarterback, even though, I mean, they're releasing Vic Beasley and Jadeveon Clowney's good at getting pressures, but he ain't good at getting sacks. So got to reinforce the back unit there if you can't get home.
Right, and again, I talked a little trash on them early in the season. I was completely wrong, so I will say that again. Jack, a trade that you liked?
I liked Unique Ndakwe to Baltimore, but I like the way it actually happened, which was Unique to Minnesota to then to Baltimore. So the fact that Baltimore got their pick or got their player for a 1 round less, basically taking what Minnesota had to trade for a 2nd round, and then they end up getting trading them a 3rd round pick. So you basically got one of the best premier pass rushers in the NFL right now for a 3rd round pick. It's kind of a steal.
Yeah, and again, to get it in the fashion they did it, right? Like, okay, Minnesota's not willing to take that, but all of a sudden, Jaguars weren't willing to take it. Minnesota's like, oh yeah. Really weird though. I don't recall seeing a player move like that before, and I was just caught me off guard. But obviously, kudos to the Baltimore front office. What they've done to put together their defense and what they've given up to do it has been absolutely insane. So again, guys, make some trades. Like, quit being scared. Like, it feels like Jack brought up a really good point, and I don't know that we expected to talk about it, but he brought up the fact that they're like fantasy football owners, right? And you just start throwing out garbage trades thinking it's going to work, and all of a sudden the player that team thought was garbage is great now that you want him, right, Jack? Like, that's kind of what it feels like with these GMs.
Yeah, I feel like the Texans are like that one idiot in everybody's league. Everybody has that one guy who doesn't know shit about fantasy football or thinks he knows like shit about fantasy football, and then it turns out like all these trades are ridiculous, and he's fire selling his best players, and then he's sending you picks for like ridiculous asinine picks where you're trading 3 bench players for your best player or vice versa. Stuff that makes absolutely no sense, and you're like, what is this guy thinking? I wonder if the NFL GMs and presidents have to go through the same deal, and that some of these idiots that run these teams are doing the exact same thing, and they're like sending just the most crazy, insane, ridiculous trades via email or text message or calling them. Like, I could only imagine how bad it could possibly be. Like, what was the biggest like, I want to know where the Texans were versus where the Packers were on what Will Fuller's like compensation should be. Like, that's what I want to know, because I feel like one of these two sides was that guy, and the other one was the good, smart fantasy owner that's like, I'm not paying that.
Oh, the Texans are totally that guy who ends up drafting the kicker who's number 1 overall in kickers, and then they're like, I got the number 1 kicker, I'll trade him for your running back too. Like, that's, my thing is how dumb was Green Bay? You knew you needed a receiver. Let's be real. You should have called when B.O.B. was there. He would have taken damn near anything. He would have taken anything, and that was a mere couple weeks ago when, again, you knew you needed a wide receiver. Like, I just don't understand. So, any more trades? We only got about 2 minutes here. Anything else, you guys, like maybe another team that should have but didn't, or a trade that you did like, even if it was preseason?
I got to throw one out there, and it's just because I don't know. They're going to be very busy in the offseason, but New Orleans swinging a deal for Quan Alexander. I love Quan Alexander, the player, but I feel bad for Kiko Alonso. This guy's getting frequent flyer miles. He better just be picking up timeshares for wherever he's playing home games because he don't stay very long. I think it's like the third or fourth time now he's been traded.
Yeah.
But Quan Alexander, he's a big time athlete, especially coming back from his knee injury. I like that addition opposite Demario Davis down there and Alex Anzalone. I like that for the Saints, but I believe they're like $120 million over the projected cap next year. So good luck, New Orleans. Mickey Loomis, you got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Kiko's a rent, don't buy kind of guy, right? You can't don't buy a house, Kiko. You're getting traded. So, and how do you say that guy? Anzalone?
Yeah, Alex Anzalone.
Funny story. I saw that on Madden. I was like, some dude's name is Anal Zone. I thought that was the greatest thing ever.
Hey, we are off the rails in quarter number one.
Hey, look, I'm just being real with you guys. It was like, get in the zone, anal zone. Anything else you guys want to talk about, Cody?
Roy's wife is watching, Rob.
Sorry, Mama Countryman. I'll tone it back.
It's a PG-13 when Mr. Countryman's on. Don't you know that?
Hey, it's his name, man. I didn't do it.
I would say the one thing.
It's the same thing as Washington football team. I don't see WFT. I see WTF every single time. I do not care. Go ahead, Jack.
Quick question, guys. And this is one I've been pondering now. Do the Buffalo Bills now look at Justin Jefferson's success and think, should we have just kept that first pick and then not had to pay Stephon Diggs? I mean, they would have to spend that money somewhere. But, like, are you guys happy? If you're Buffalo, are you happy with that still, seeing how good Justin Jefferson's looked?
Yeah, because they're in win now. They're in win now mode. We're not paying our quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I wish they would have traded for a tight end. I'm not going to lie. A couple of guys that could have been moved.
It'd be one thing if they weren't moving, but like, he's Josh's safety valve at this point.
Yeah, he is. And I don't know if he would have been that right now, but, you know, in hindsight, they do look like they're on par for similar.
Oh, yeah. Justin Jefferson makes Kirk Cousins look fucking usable, so that's a positive. Let's get in, guys. That'll be the end of quarter number one. We are going to hit you with the second quarter topic. Today, we are talking again. It's going to be a 3-and-out segment mid-season here. We are going to start with, let's go with Cody this time, Cody.
Yeah, I actually typed my stuff.
I see that. I was so proud of you.
Weird. But yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals sitting at 5-2. Kudos to you, Roy and RobRob. I know Jack was high on them too. I was the contrarian of the group prior to the season. I just had my doubts just because of their offensive line. And I still had my worries about their defense, but they're sitting at 5-2. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the Niners when the Niners were respectable week one when they had a healthy roster. So they have they're projected to possibly, win the division if they can take over the Seahawks. So I think they still have a lot of work to do. One trade I didn't get to bring up, I had one in the barrel just in case you got to me again, was them going after Marcus Golden for only a 6th-round pick after they lost Chandler Jones. That should potentially help out their pass rush. So I'm interested to see where they go this season. So that's like an interesting storyline. They already got one game up on the Seahawks. So if they can continue to handle their games, they could be a scary team for to come wild card weekend or the divisional round.
And in the future, as a Rams fan, I get nervous about the Cardinals because I still see room for growth and possibilities of growth. Like, it doesn't feel like we've reached near cap for what this team could be, and that scares the crap out of me in the NFC West. So, no, yeah, absolutely kudos to the Cardinals. Roy, throw me one, man.
Okay, I'm just going to state the obvious here, but halfway through the season, I'm pretty sure the next Terminator is playing out in Seattle. His name is DK Metcalf. This dude is a cyborg. Outside the one bad play where he got chased down by Diggs and getting the fumble, he made up for that in wholesale with running down the defensive back and on the pick six. Which even at that, he's working on that as well. He's simply unstoppable with Russell Wilson. So DK Metcalf, I'm definitely tip my cap. I'm enjoying watching this guy, and he probably has the second best mouth guard in all the NFL to Benny Snell. If you can go binky outside the spinner rim, We're up there. We're up there in the upper echelon.
No, DK Metcalf is an absolute beast, which has got to make Cody just so happy that you talk about him constantly. I remember going back, that was Cody's dude. Like, Cody was laying it on the line for DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I mean, because you said you shouted me out on Twitter the other day, and I went back and found that picture from the Combine when the hot take episode when I said DK should go top 5. Well, hey,
the guy is undeniably talented, but that 3-cone drill is killing him.
Technically, he said he would go top 5, and that's where I had my thing. I said just because he runs a 4.3 doesn't mean he's going to go top 5, and the 4.3 has nothing to do with how. I mean, it is such a small spectrum or a small part of the spectrum of DK Metcalf and how good he really is. So, like, again, giving Cody nothing but props, but the quote was that he will go top 5 if he runs a sub 4.
He also went to the best place, I think, for him and his game style. Yeah. Like, having it be Russell Wilson. Like, there's other great quarterbacks that I don't even think he'd be as good as with. His style mesh, like, they play well together. Like, they were match made in heaven. Like, it's old school love affair with those two. Jack, let me come to you for your first 3 and out.
After this last weekend between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, I've come to this conclusion. Lamar Jackson is a great football player. He is an average quarterback at best, though. And this is touchy subject for a lot of people, but I just really do not think Lamar Jackson is a great thrower of the football. I think he is a very okay at best thrower of the football. There was like a 5-yard curl route at the beginning of the game, first quarter, and he missed his wide receiver by like 2-3 yards. Like, I mean, we're talking about a 5-yard curl route. Like, I coach flag football. They can hit that route. I'm sorry. Like, but the honest to God truth is they hit that route. Like, how are you getting paid as a professional quarterback and you can't throw 5 or 10 yards, like standing still, not moving, straight, one-on-one, like playing catch in the backyard, warming up the arm, and you can't hit him.
I think I legitimately know the answer to that, Jack. I don't do this much, but I think the legit answer to that is that even your average quarterback, that throw is number 1 in mind, right? Like, that's easy because, look, that will always be there for me. But with Lamar, his first thought is always run. So even if that's his first read, that's technically his second read because Lamar's looking to run every time. And I think being behind the 8 ball on every single pass play starts him with his foot in the hole. And that's just my take on it. And I love Lamar Jackson. But like I said, the first thing he does is look to run. So he's already down a read where another quarterback would have already made that first one, in my opinion. So, but I'm on board with you. Great football player, average quarterback. You know, you got your award. Good for you, man. You're never going to get another one. Sorry.
Yeah, Lamar, I'm sorry. It's his play style is not competent for a long-term success. Like, I'm sorry, his build is not set for that. His quarterbacking skills aren't. Like, players don't get faster as they age. Like, you're not going to be able to sustain this 8, 9, 10 years in the league. And if you're not a competent quarterback at first, what is that offense going to look like out there?
Yeah, again, if you can make Baltimore have to stand back there and toss the rock and not run, that's a W for you. So, let me get back around the horn here, Cody. You for your second.
Yeah, how bad? I was just so surprised this first half of the season, not only of how bad the NFC East is, but like they don't want to win games. Like, I swear, every game you watch, like you see them winning, and then it's like they throw away. Like for example, this past weekend, we go to Sunday night, right? Like, Eagles should have just walked in, even though they're pretty banged up, but beat a bad Cowboys team led by Ben DiNucci, who is fumbling the ball multiple times. But then Carson Wentz is like throwing 4 picks. I'm just like, Cowboys are going to win this. Like
Ben DiNucci that probably just lost his job to a practice squad quarterback. Like, that's how bad DiNucci is.
AAF great Garrett Colbert.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Get that right.
I'm being honest with you. It's still what it is. Look, man, the NFC East is as garbage as it comes. Again, conspiracy theory, I'm with you. Jerry's not trying to win games. Cowboys are not trying to win games. I'm putting that's happening.
All right, real quick though. Real quick. If would you try to compete for a division title if you know you're going to get bounced first round of the playoffs no matter what?
It depends on what franchise I am. If I'm like a Browns or something like that doesn't win a lot, that just making it to the playoffs matters. But if you're a team like why would the Cowboys want to go in first round and get biz-ounced? Like, I'd rather be crap, go get Trevor Lawrence, have my stud Dallas quarterback for the next 10, 15 years, and make all that money off that. Because I've won Super Bowls. My fans know what winning feels like. But if you're a crappy team all the time, like, sure, if you told the Jets they could sneak into the first round, they would do it. So, I think it's up to that. So, but Cody, anything you want to say about the garbage hot NFC East before we move on to Roy?
No, just last point. They are the only division with negative point differential. Eagles at -19, Washington -32, Cowboys -81, Giants -54.
Oh my gosh. Every team in that division is just the hottest of hot garbage. I love it.
It does. Like, this should have been the one franchise that was or the one division that was the most active, because all what it would have took was like maybe one more player for them to win the division.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're Washington, you should have gone for it. I'm sorry. That's the team in the division that absolutely should have made a move to go for this division. So, Roy, hit me with another one, man.
Okay, so for me, I'm going to talk about a 3-5 team that I've been impressed with, because I really expect them only to win like 2 games maybe all year. The Carolina Panthers. Matt Roll is building a beast down there in the NFC South, and they already got some good teams. I like their long-term future better than the Saints. The outlook there with Christian McCaffrey, you got Bridgewater at least to be the quarterback for now. Maybe you draft a guy this year. But Matt Roll, he just reminds me of a young career Bill Cowher in the way he's very stoic. His team plays hard. They're well coached. I just love what he's building down there in Carolina. They got some big uglies in the trenches. Derek Brown's making plays. Brian Burns is a building block. Jeremy Chin. They got versatile weapons on offense and defense. Love what he's building there. Always loved him when he coached Temple and Baylor. And he's showing up in the NFL now. So hopefully this gives a couple guys in the college ranks that have aspirations of going to the NFL maybe a chance to be a program builder into a city like that.
Feels like the NFC South has quickly turned into the AFC East, and the Carolina Panthers are the Buffalo Bills. Like, Tom Brady's on top right now, but there's this team just bubbling right there as soon as Tom goes to take over. So, absolutely, the Carolina Panthers have looked good to great at times and without CMC. So, Jack, hit me with another one, man.
As of right now, this is the most bottom heavy I've ever seen in the NFL. There are 4 Super Bowl contenders at this point. Seattle Seahawks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the NFC, and then you have the Kansas City Chiefs and Roy's Pittsburgh Steelers. In the AFC, you have a handful of contenders, the Titans, the Bills, the Packers, teams like that. But then everything else, everybody else, like the entire rest of the league feels like they're on the bottom end of this, fighting for, never has a one win meant so much. And there's so many teams that are a win away or one extra loss away or one other team winning a game away from having their entire franchise completely altered. And so it's going to be crazy to see all these bottom tier teams fighting at the end of the year to suck more, because we're only at week 8 and literally I've never seen a larger group that's basically just wrapped it. They've called it a season. So many of these teams have just decided to tank. Without tanking, they've decided to just call it a season from a front office standpoint and just play it out. And these teams really are already playing for the next year or two, and we're only halfway into the season. And there's still plenty of playoff spots, especially with the 7th seed on
and
the
possibly
line right
8th, right? Didn't I read that?
Yeah.
There's a chance it's going to be 8 from each?
That's only in case the 256 games don't get completed with the 18th week.
So, I mean, even then, you're that's still, though, you play it out because that could be the opportunity. But I'm with Jack. A lot of bottom feeders this year. It is what it is. Mayo, let's get to you for your third.
So yeah, I kind of already hinted at it. I was already about the Texans, them not making any trades, just their overall handling of 2020. We all kind of knew Bill O'Brien wasn't the future there, and then they go blow that lead at the beginning of the year against the Chiefs, and that should have been the time you just moved on. And what did they do? They gave him the responsibility of being the GM.
Yeah.
And then so you let him run a draft, you let him run all the offseason moves, all the offseason decisions, and then when did he get fired? Week 4? The first 4 weeks of the year, you fire him. And then on top of this, we get this character called Jack Easterby. I just can't get over this, who started off as a pastor with the Kansas City Chiefs, went to be a culture development guy with the Patriots, and now he's basically running the football operations in Houston, where he was supposedly buddies with Billy O'Brien, kind of backstabbed him.
It's like Young and the Restless with pigskin.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this guy? How does this guy rise? Like, I can go be no offense, Roy, I'll go be a pastor for a year and then go make my moves if I have to.
I don't think everyone's ever used the Bible as the end for the NFL before. But kudos to this guy for getting it done. The Texans are a dumpster fire and look to continue to be moving forward. We are running out of time, Roy, so I'll hit me with your third.
My number 3 is my Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe are the most well-rounded and complete team in the NFL.
I call
Jack mentioned it. Four teams are contenders right now. Most well-rounded and complete team in the NFL.
I called that preseason. I knew it was happening.
Are you talking about the team that got crushed and outgunned 2-1 last week?
Hey, look. Hey,
doesn't matter. We're still undefeated.
They get it done on both sides of the ball.
After that
we have yet to put together 4 complete quarters.
I don't think. I think what my point with the Steelers, and we'll make time for Jack here, obviously, is again, I can't name a team who has a better defense and a better offense together. Like each one of them could be drastic. I know you're going to say the Bucs. The Bucs have been far more inconsistent offensively than the Steelers. So, but again, that's why I have the Bucs at number 1 in the NFC and the Steelers 1 in the AFC.
Had a bad week and still put up 25. I wouldn't say that much.
You can look at, they're inconsistent, Jack. Come on, that's the flaw, is the inconsistency thus far. They're getting better, but be honest, they're inconsistent.
I will say this much, Jack. I think we're on a crash course to see each other.
I do too.
I hope so. It would be my dream come true.
Cody's all just, hey, look, we don't get to talk about the Rams this week either, Cody. So just chill.
Hey, how about this? How about we just all be happy that our teams are winning at this point?
Amen.
Cody,
exactly.
You were miserable last year. I was miserable last year. RobRob at 9-7 was unhappy, and there was a guy named
Roy was
Gus
on his 3rd or 4th.
Hey, we were 500 with a 4th-string quarterback, so I'm happy.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like we're counting our blessings this season. It's been a good year for all 4 of us.
#blessed up. Jack, I come to you. The timer's off. So what's the third one you want to get out here, man?
Oh, what for the 3 and out?
Yep. Yes, sir.
That was it.
Okay.
That was it. All of our teams are winning right now. It's a good thing.
There we go. I have a special one. For our 3 and out, I only need 1, and this is a kudos to Ron Rivera for getting to ring that bell, man. That was a good moment in 2020 that I needed to see. So congrats to Ron Rivera, and big thanks to all his doctors helping make that man healthy again. So we are going to be right back. I'm going to hit you with this commercial, give my guys a second to breathe and get a drink, and we will be right back with you. For over 100 years, the story has been written, ever changing and growing with each new chapter. The soul remains, though the characters change. Bigger, faster, stronger, smarter.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
So too grows our fandom. Prospect Encyclopedia. September. Available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and Blitzalytics.com. And welcome back. Oh man, I saw Cody's koozie, man. Stick to football,
that
dude.
made me sad too.
Oh man.
When the stick to football music hits. Oh man, for real though, sad moment, man, hearing that those guys done with that show. So shout out to our buddy Matt Miller, Connor Rogers, Mello. Guys had a great thing going, and I'm looking forward to what you guys bring next. And Roy, I'm going to turn the table to you. We want to have you say something to some people working for tonight.
Hey, I want to say a big thanks to my wife. She was out working the voting polls here in my local town. So big thank you for doing that and volunteering to help out for the cause and what the great nation's going through today. So
absolutely, thank you to all our poll workers, especially Mama Countrymen. Gotta show the love. So let's get in here into quarter number 3, where you know what we're gonna do, guys. It's mid-season, so we gotta hit you with these mid-season awards. We're gonna run through MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year. What is it? Coach of the Year, Executive of the Year. Is there another one I'm missing? Comeback Player of the Year. That's the other one. So we are gonna go around the horn. We're gonna get these out, have a little discussion, have some fun with this. So Roy, we're gonna come to you and have you start this segment.
I
MVP.
think for me, MVP, it starts and ends in Seattle. The guy that's yet to even get a vote takes it this year. Russell Wilson is a man on fire. He's a one-man wrecking crew with DK Metcalf. The defense is not there, but that team is they put him squarely on his shoulder, and they're finally letting Russ cook. There's a lot of other guys that are having quality seasons, but I think it's really Russell Wilson and then the next class, just the amount that they're putting on him to just carry them to victory each week.
No, absolutely. Russ is Seattle. And I'll come to you, Cody, because you share the answer, but anything additional you'd like to add for the MVP?
No, I mean, Roy said it perfectly. He's cooking right now, and then on top of it, they don't really have a defense right now, so he's have to will them to victory. So
Yeah, Jack, I don't know if you can see the chat, but Mama Countryman says, stop calling me a poll worker. It implies I do a different job.
Bro, I heard that. I was like, I don't know if you see it. You'll go back on the video and see my face when you said that.
You threw us
that's
off,
what caught me off guard.
You threw us off.
Because I'm sitting here like explaining Russell Wilson, and I see Roy laugh, and I'm like, why is Roy laughing? And I look over to the side in the chat, and I see the comment from Mama Countryman.
Mama Countryman's MVP, dude. She's the MVP. I love it.
You're about to see somebody come downstairs or wherever Roy is. He's about to get a smack on the back of his head.
If I wind up being a cartoon character the rest of the episode, there's a reason.
Absolutely. Oh man. All right, Cody. Anything more to add about Russell Wilson?
No. Russell's cooking. I'm pretty sure the MVP metric that Jack created says he's number 1. So that's all I gotta say.
No, I'm in on the Russ bandwagon. I love it. Jack, you have a differing opinion here.
I do have a differing opinion from the eye test. The numbers say Russ. Russell Wilson, as of today, I believe. I think these numbers are updated. 161.9 compared to Patrick Mahomes' 152.1. And this is what's crazy is Russell Wilson and DK and Lockett have basically broken the MVP metric, because the MVP metric is supposed to be divided by offensive talent and percentage of offensive efficiency. Well, all of them are scoring so many touchdowns and putting up so much points and combining for so many yards together. All 3 of them have wound up inside the MVP top 10 and have basically broken the metric, kind of. It's not supposed to do that, but again, they're putting up so many damn yards. So Russell Wilson's at 1, Lockett's at 2, and DK is technically at 7, which means I have to kind of maybe rethink this, and they've made me have to reassess this. But
the Seahawks broke it.
Well, I think that the MVP metric just needs to be the top player per team. So I think only 32 people qualify. So when you put it in that order, and it goes Russell Wilson, Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Rodgers, and then I'm looking in terms of repeat players, and then Alvin Kamara is next. So that I would like that.
Silly this year.
It's hard to disagree with that. I think Alvin Kamara maybe put up like a spot or two above or right there with Derrick Henry or above Rodgers. I don't know. It's hard. But for me, it is definitely Patrick Mahomes. Sorry, I'm rambling. I always do. 21 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He has the best touchdown to turnover ratio. He is just the best quarterback in the league right now. And it can't be stated enough how good Russell Wilson is, but he is playing with DK Metcalf. He is playing with Tyler Lockett. So we can't use the excuse that Patrick Mahomes is playing with the best offense in the NFL and not act like Russell Wilson doesn't have the same caliber, if not better, weapons at this point.
I'll be honest with you. Patty Mahomes feels like he's going to have to pay the Jordan LeBron tax where you're so good that you're just not going to win MVP a lot. Mm-hmm. But a couple of names that I'll throw out really quickly that just weren't mentioned. I agree with what they said. Those are my front runners. I think Tom Brady can be made a case for giving Buccaneers fans the ability to be cocky for once in 20 years. Ryan Tannehill, who I'm eating crow on, has been brilliant at times this season. I think he could be sniffing into that conversation. But again, I'm with you guys. Those are my front runners. Let's move on to the offensive. And let's do both player of the year at the same time, guys, here. Offensive and defensive, if you don't mind. And I'll come to you here, Jack, to give us the start on that.
Offensive player of the year, Alvin Kamara. He leads the league in, I think, yards from scrimmage and touchdowns. I know it's yards from scrimmage, but I think it's yards from scrimmage and touchdowns. He's killing it right now. Best player in fantasy. And then Devin White, unsung hero. Oh man, I had an amazing stat. There's only one other player right now. He's on pace to have 10 sacks and like 136 total tackles. There's only one other player in the NFL, history of the NFL, to do that, and I can't think of his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Broderick. Damn it, former linebacker for the Bucs in the '90s. Roy may be able to help me out.
Derek Brooks.
No, it's Broderick. Broderick something. Damn it.
Bunkley? Broderick Bunkley.
Think so? No. I have it right now. But anyways, he's on in a historic pace. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a great year. Again, it's coming up roses for the Bucs again here. Cody, I'll come to you. Your offensive and defensive player of the years.
Yeah, so I think we're going to repeat the offensive name. So I'm going to be quick. It's Alvin Kamara. Like Jack said, he leads in scrimmage yards. I'm pretty sure he does lead in touchdowns. He's just basically the New Orleans offense right now, and the only reason why they've won the 5 games, in my opinion. He's basically carrying Drew Brees' arm. But yeah, he's having a baller season, so he's the offensive player of the year for me. And then Rob, you should like this one. Aaron Donald.
Cody wins.
Yeah, he's destroying offensive lines like usual. He's got 9 sacks on the year, 26 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, 3 forced fumbles. I'm really just hoping he just completely balls out in the second half and destroys Michael Strahan's sack record, and he cements himself officially as the best defensive player in NFL history.
Bada bing! That's why you're my buddy, dude. I'll come to you, Roy. Your O&D player of the year.
Yeah, my offensive player of the year, it's going to sound repetitive. Alvin Kamara. If New Orleans didn't have Alvin Kamara and didn't pay him and make him a happy man, they'd be sitting in the same place as New England right now at about 2-5 because he is their offense right now with the noodle-armed Breeze. So that's where I'm sitting at with offensive player of the year. Defensive, I got to go with my Pittsburgh Steelers. Have you guys watched an entire game with TJ Watt? He is like almost at that level of Aaron Donald dominance. Nobody can catch this guy off the snap. He is a force in the run game. He can get sacks. He can knock passes down. He has an interception return for a touchdown this year. This dude is wreaking havoc, and the other players around him are also benefiting. We have 3 players with over 6 sacks because they're constantly double-teaming him. He would probably be in double digits by now if they would not hold him on every single play. Dude. So TJ Watt is a beast.
Guys, got a motor. I'll be real quick. My votes are going to mimic that of Cody. Just to put a bow on how good Alvin Kamara's season is from a fantasy standpoint, if you only took his receiving stats, he'd be the 5th best running back and the 12th best wide receiver. That's disregarding rushing. That's fucking amazing. What a year he's having. And then obviously I'm going to vote Aaron Donald every time we talk about Defensive Player of the Year, greatest of all time, the true GOAT, my friend. Let's go ahead then and move on to our offensive and defensive rookies of the year, where I'll start with you, Cody.
So for offense, I know we were debating this, I think, on multiple shows last week. I think on the Voyage, maybe on the – I don't know where we talked about this, Rob. But anyways, I decided to go Joe Burrow. I really debated Justin Herbert, but I felt Joe Burrow – he's played all 8 games or 6, 7 games that they had to bye. He's playing without Joe Mixon the last 2 games. He's had a up and down A.J. Green, no type of offensive line in front of him, and he's kept his team in a game throughout outside the Ravens game. I think they had a shot to win games. And I was more impressed this past weekend. I think this past weekend put him over Herbert for me, at least for the midseason offensive rookie of the year, because all of his linemen were hurt. He had guys that quit in Spain, guys that just joined the team, and they went and beat the Titans. So that's why I give him the slight edge.
Fourth down throw sold me.
Yeah,
because he's have the nuts. Because if you look at the still image of it, to have the cojones to throw that ball when the guy's not even looking that way. And Joe still knew what it was like. That's next level. Yeah. Joe Burrow's insane.
Dude's a stud. And what I'll do is I see me and Roy have the same guys for defense rookie of the year, and this was his dude. So I'll let him talk up Jeremy Chin, who I also picked up.
This looks like it's a clean sweep here too. So Roy, go ahead and hit us with the Chin.
Yeah, Jeremy Chin.
Sweet
was my
Chin
boy.
Music. How have we never said that?
Oh,
He played safety at his small school, and he loved laying the Chin music because this dude would bring the wood. Now Carolina, with my boy Matt Roll, is letting him wreak havoc in any situation and any facet he wants. We were all worried in Carolina what's going to happen because Kuechly retired. They're asking, I don't want to be any disrespect to him, but Kuechly who? Because Chin has been all over the place. He's playing at safety. He's playing in sub-package linebacker, taking tight ends out of the equation, coming up in run defense, making plays on the ball. This guy can do everything. Dynamic athlete. I am so impressed with what he is. And this is only his first year really getting looks as a pure linebacker. The sky is the limit for him. And they were able to get him at a discount price where Arizona had to pay the premium price for Isaiah Simmons. And you were able to get a guy to take blocks in front of him and Derek Brown in the first round, and then follow this up with Jeremy Chin. Home run. Jeremy Chin, I can't talk about him enough. That's Saluki, from his Division II school or the small school where he's from. But that was just a dynamic pick. Love to see just the creativeness in that defensive coordinator room down there.
Spend some time down at SIU. I know about it. Go ahead, Jack.
What's funny is that this is the exact role in most mock drafts that we pegged Isaiah Simmons to play in the Carolina defense. And it's not Isaiah Simmons. And we actually aren't even hearing of Isaiah Simmons this year. We're hearing of Jeremy Chin, who, again, was this hybrid player who could play linebacker and safety and do all these things. And a majority of us figured that Isaiah Simmons was going to Carolina to play this role. But it was Jeremy Chin, and I don't think either of us. Roy was obviously the first one. Roy's usually the first one of the film in a lot of these smaller school prospects. He showed it to me. I started drooling. We both started freaking out. We probably sat there and watched an hour or two with the film, just BSing and shooting the shit one morning and talking about him like, the sky's the limit for this guy and how much he flashed on film. He's so good at what he does, but I didn't expect it to be this good.
Yeah. Absolutely insane how good Jeremy Chin has been. And Roy, you share an opinion on Offensive Rookie of the Year as Cody did. So anything more to add about Joe Burrow before I hit Jack up?
Joe Burrow, to me, just brings you a level of, it brings you out of mediocrity into just a level of competition to where you're not going to be 5-10 anymore on a consistent basis.
Yes.
You might be it this year. you might be 5-11 this year, but you're not gonna be for the next decade. So Cincinnati,
I'm just
You
saying,
called that
my
Super
call,
Bowl, yeah.
2021 AFC Championship will be the Chiefs versus Bengals.
The Bengals, again.
Or 2022.
2022.
I said
You did say 22.
wow, that's a little early.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what.
Damn, bro.
The record may not reflect it when the end of the season comes around, but I will tell you right now, the Bengals would scare me more right now than any Andy Dalton Bengals incarnation. Any of them. I will any period. So
You might be talking about the Bengals have the best quarterback in the AFC North heading into next season.
Hey, look, man, and that's a studly division right now. So, Jack,
You're
I'm
lucky,
going to come to you.
You're lucky he can't punch you right now.
I'll come to you, Jack. You have the only differing opinion on offensive player or rookie of the year.
Yeah, Chase Claypool is tied for the league lead, and he's got seven touchdowns, or he's tied for the league and from wide receiver standpoint and touchdowns. To me, what Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert is doing is outstanding, but it's not on the upper echelon level of quarterback play right now. Like, they're playing really good for rookies, so I think we're grading them on a curve. But a rookie quarterback is judged off wins. Neither of them are getting wins. Chase Claypool, on the other hand, is certainly contributing to wins. He may actually be the best wide receiver on his team right now. He may be the best wide receiver in their actual division right now that's healthy at the very least. And he's going to quickly insert himself this year and next season as one of the best in the NFL. This is exactly what we've seen potential-wise from Claypool this last offseason. This is why we were so high on him. This is why I was freaking out and fanboying watching him do blocking drills and seeing what could be last year or this past year in Mobile. He's by far he's the better player at his position than both Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert right now. So that's why I'm putting him as the offensive year.
You're not paying attention to what Justin Jefferson's doing there.
Ooh. I love Claypool, but it's going to go to a quarterback, so I'm going to have to go Burrow. But Jack made my case for Claypool too, but it's always going to go quarterback.
Don't forget he has 2 rushing touchdowns too.
Seven total, five through the air, two on the ground.
Getting it done. We're gonna get here onto, and again, who cares? The clock is up. I'm the producer. I do what I want. We're gonna get to comeback player of the year here, and Jack, I'll let you start. But it looks like everybody's got kind of the same answer, so I'll have you all just give me a brief reason why.
As much as I want to give it to Alex Smith for the great story that it is. Realistically, come on now. I mean, it's got to be Big Ben. Like, he's playing really good. His team's undefeated. Like, I'll let our big man talk about that big man. But I mean, it's just blatant to me.
Yeah,
I can't.
I'm with you. Had we maybe got Alex Smith to stay in and be productive, obviously I think it goes to him. But I'm with you guys here with Ben. You want to add something, Mayo, before we get to the Steelers fanatic down there?
Yeah, I mean, not only that he's playing, more better than I expected, because I was one of those people that had my doubts, but on top of it, they're undefeated, so you got to give kudos
right
to that.
Roy, fawn over your boy a little.
So for Roethlisberger, do you guys realize the amount that he had to come back from? This is a one-of-a-kind injury. No quarterback has even been on record to come back from. He literally tore 3 of the 5 flexor tendons off of his elbow into his fingers and had to be repaired. So everybody was calling it Tommy John. It wasn't Tommy John. It was actually the flexor tendons. And that's been unheard of. It's never the doctor on the documentary he had on YouTube. If you've not watched it yet, it's a great documentary, a 4-part with him and his family just going through the rehab. It's even more than that. It's just the way he was able to kind of resculpt his body, refocus himself into really committing to the way he's able to jump into the playbook, be more dynamic with his players around him. Because last year it really hurt because that was the first opportunity he was going to have in a long time without having the AB persona there or the Le'Veon Bell saga going on. It was really just going to be a bunch of guys doing each one of their parts and being one team, not having to force the ball to one guy consistently or feed one guy because he's not happy with the amount of rushing attempts he's had. So I think that hurt more than anything, and that's why when he came out with a statement that he was coming back not only this year, but he wants to be for multiple championships, He wants to bring to Pittsburgh. That's what got me so excited. And he's been better than what I think a lot of people give him credit for, because he's not turned the ball over. And for Big Ben, I know Jack always rips me about it that, he puts the ball in danger, which he did in the Tennessee game. But for the majority of this year, that's the reason why we're undefeated, is because he's been so sure and decisive in his decision-making.
Yeah, and I think part of putting the ball in danger was he was, again, having to force it to these divas. Again, I was a fan of Leibel, still am, and I was a fan of AB, rooting on that guy to get his shit together. But, again, he doesn't have to force it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit you with the coach and executive of the year here, but I'm going to have you guys just like do what we did earlier and package them together, and I'll come to you, Cody, for your answers.
Yeah, so I actually went with Brian Flores for the Dolphins as my coach of the year. They're sitting at 4-3. They have an opportunity to make a playoff run. They have an opportunity to make a run at the AFC East. I entered the year thinking they're at least a year away from competing for the playoff spot, and halfway through the year, they, like I already mentioned, they could potentially do that. I think he's coaching up that defense, despite there's some lack. There are some flaws in that defense. He actually, had the gall sack to pull the trigger and start Tua this past weekend. I know Tua didn't necessarily show out, but they still beat your Rams. Sorry, Rob. And that's
our Rams
that's
beat
thing.
ourselves. Thank you very much.
And that's what I'm coming back to. Like, they beat the Rams when most people thought the Rams would win. They beat the 49ers in San Francisco. I know it was a little different because they didn't have fans. So they do have some wins over some marquee teams. So I'm and if you look ahead, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but these next 3 or 4 matchups, if I remember right, are pretty winnable. So it'll be interesting to follow this little end of the season, not only with the Dolphins, but the Bills tying that together. My GM of the year is Brandon Beane of the Bills. He's put together this roster over the last 3 years. He pulled the trigger on Josh Allen in the top 10, and now he's built an offense around him. He's the defense. They have the pieces there. They just got to be more consistent and put it together. But at the end of the day, they just beat the Patriots for the first time in the Brandon Beane era and the Sean McDermott era. They're 6-2. They control their own destiny to win the AFC East and host a playoff game. And
plus, they're the team of football happy hour, so we're always
exactly.
Roy, hit me with your answers, my man.
So mine, I'm close to home for the coach, Mike Tomlin. 1, he's undefeated, but 2, he's now the all-time winningest coach for minorities in NFL history, passing Tony Dungy with the win against Baltimore. So what a great man to be looking forward to. One of his mentors he just passed, and that says a lot for where we need to be going in the next generation of the NFL. A lot more guys like him, as a minority, need to be getting their opportunities, because there's great coaches out there. And
plus,
I think
he's the Marshawn Lynch of coaches. I love listening to him have to give post gamers. They ask stupid questions. She's just like, here's an answer. That was stupid. Next. I absolutely love Tomlin press conferences. So
yeah, you definitely need your thesaurus every time he breaks it out, because he gives you some sort of word. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, he'll drop a $10 word on you real quick.
Yeah, and for us backwoods people, we have no idea what he's talking about. Anyway, Brett Veach is my executive of the year, and more than likely it was for his work in the offseason, keeping all these pieces together for another Super Bowl run. Chris Jones, you got Patty Mahomes signed. You went out and got Le'Veon Bell mid-season. You drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. L'Jarius Sneed, who was out with a broken collarbone, put up 2 picks early and looked like a really competent cornerback when you had a glaring hole there. Willie Gay playing linebacker pretty competently here in year 1. They're making quality additions. He seems to be playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers, especially with the salary cap. So Brent Veach of the Chiefs.
No doubt. Just a myth. He's one of the guys that proves it. Jack, hit me with yours real quick, brother.
Matt Rule, I'll keep this short and sweet. Matt Rule, for the simple fact that he's been able to win games without Christian McCaffrey, and that he has this team, what looks like, if you just look at attitude of teams, this team looks like a winning team. The attitude of this team, the way they play, they have a winning mentality already, even if they aren't a winning team, even if the the talent isn't up to the culture. The culture is there, and so I've been really, really impressed from Matt Rule and what he's been able to do. Jason Light, though, I think a lot of people. I've been back and forth with people for years on how good of a GM and how good Jason Light really is. Yes, he does take some swings. Yes, he does take some messes. Yes, he's had some boneheaded picks, but he literally, minus Levante David, he basically has built this entire defense from scratch. Every one of these guys, minus David, is somebody that he helped draft from the 3 cornerbacks, draft or signed Shaq Barrett. You could talk about JPP. He drafted Vita Vea. He brought in Ndamukong Suh. He chose Ndamukong Suh over a Buccaneers legend in Gerald McCoy. He brought in Tom Brady. He's brought in Antonio Brown. He drafted Godwin. He drafted OJ Howard. Yes, he did draft a kicker in the second round, and yes, he did draft Jameis Winston. But any GM at that year would have probably drafted Jameis Winston or Marcus Mariota 1 and 2. So he's made mistakes, but I think a majority of them are mistakes that every GM probably would have made, and we never would have known if they would have failed or not. I think he is one of the best GMs in the NFL.
Now that I think about it, it totally makes sense why you're such a Bucks and Rockets fan. Him and Morey are a lot alike. Now, I know Morey's gone from Houston, but willing to say, fuck it, I'm going all in this year, right? I love it. There's not enough guys who do that. They're all trying to play these long games, not realizing that, look, your window is just cracked, man. You're not going to be the Patriots. You're not going to get 20 years of competition. So, yeah, absolutely. All of those guys have great arguments to be made. So, kudos to everyone that made that list. Let's go ahead now, guys, and we're going to jump into quarter number 4 here, where we're going to hit you with the 2020 midseason Blitzalytics prospect. And so you see Cody, Encyclopedia, offensive and defensive players of the year. So let's go ahead, and whenever you guys are ready, let's have Jack kick us off here with the offensive player of the year for you.
Offensive player of the year for me, I kind of have 2 of them. We have to at least talk about Justin Herbert, because I did notice that he wasn't in on there. 67% completion percentage, 15-5 touchdown to interception ratio, 17-7 touchdown to turnover ratio, 104.5 passer rating, 1,820 yards, 142 yards on the ground. It's been impressive. At least the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter, he kind of shells up and he's a little timid. He's made some mistakes. He's made some costly mistakes in the second half. But it can't go without notice that Justin Herbert's been playing lights out. If I have to have one, though, I think I want to go Clyde Edwards-Helaire with his 1,700, or not 1,700.
Woo! 1,700!
Not yet.
You run like a hamster wheel.
Give it 8 more weeks, but 776 yards from scrimmage has been outstanding. The touchdown production isn't necessarily there. And he's been kind of overshadowed by the rest of KC. But to me, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the best offensive player to come out of the Prospect Encyclopedia in 2020.
Yeah, I'm not mad at either of those selections. Again, the thing with CEH, man, if he gets the nose for the end zone, boy, it's going to be ugly. I'll tell you what. That's the only thing the kid lacks. Mayo, your offensive player of the year.
Yeah, so this is a guy that's, he's top 10 in scrimmage yards right now. He's I think two or three spots right below CEH, and I just wanted to highlight him because he shows the depth of this book of names that you can pick up from. But that's James Robinson. He was the number 21 prospect for Jacksonville by David Connors. He has 107 rushes for 481 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's got 27 receptions for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. And when you actually watch him play, it's not just he's got the volume, right? It's not like he's just getting yards. No, he'll run people over. He'll make people miss in the open field. I like what I see from him when he runs the rock. So I just wanted to give kudos to him just because, anytime we can show off the depth of this book, I love that. I love it when I can do it.
Yeah, and again, I don't really do this section. I let the guys have this, but there's a guy I want to talk about, not getting a lot of love because I don't think he's being overutilized yet, but I'll stay in Jacksonville for mine. I want to spotlight Laviska Shenault, who I think has the ability to be one of the scariest football players because he does everything. And he does it all at above average at this point already. I think you get him in the right system, you get a right coach with him, and he's going to be one of the scarier guys. He's got 29 receptions, 324 yards. He's averaging 11.2 per. He's got a touchdown. He rushes. I love what Laviska Shenault brings to the table. I don't think he's being utilized properly, so we don't get to talk about him a lot. But I just wanted to throw that name out there right there because I absolutely love that kid. So, Roy, who's your offensive player?
Great names, both by you, RobRob, and Cody. Every time I watch Robinson, he just reminds me of an early career David Johnson, who was very underrated when he went to the Cardinals. And like you said, it's more than just a volume pickup there. Like, he was in Illinois State, he was making plays, and I can't believe he went undrafted. So great work by David there at number 21. But my guy, Chase Claypool, he was my number one prospect for the Steelers. Jack highlighted him in his Offensive Rookie of the Year. This dude is a playmaker. Of the likes, at least athletically, we have yet to see since Calvin Johnson, maybe Martavis Bryant, similarly built. Just a ridiculous dude. His movement skills are rare for a guy that big. He has pure speed in a line, but he also has the lateral ability that I wasn't so sure of coming out of Notre Dame. I really thought we were maybe going to have to see him bulk up and play tight end. But Big Ben loves going down the field, and they're using him on end arounds and rushing attempts. Mapletron is here to stay, and it's fun to see him in black and gold. And he plays the game the right way. He plays it hard. He's not afraid to get dirty on blocking, and he's selfless. So Chase Claypool. And if you have yet to see it, fellas, I don't know if you got to watch the last Steel City sermon. Great guy off the field. This dude, there was an older gentleman that has dementia, and he was asking for some memorabilia to try to help his dad remember the players, because his dad was able to recall players off the roster by just numbers and colleges by name. Chase Claypool seen it. He took the time, not as assistant, but he took the time personally. He made a TikTok video showing this guy. He pulled out a game-worn jersey, hand-signed it, went to the post office, and delivered it to the guy. And watching it, that gentleman open that, and that little bit of, personal touch that he has off the field says the world to me. So Chase Claypool,
beast on and off the field. And again, you throw a couple pounds on that frame before next season, woohoo! Watch the hell out, man. I'll tell you, I think he's going to be scary next year. So, Jack, let's come to you then. Let's talk a little defense now, man.
Oh, man. I'm excited to talk about this guy. I'm excited to talk about this guy. I really, really, really am. Antoine Winfield Jr., baby. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last night, what you guys watched with that questionable pass interference call, I don't know what you want to call it. It was a game-winning, game-saving performance, game-saving effort, and it's happened in multiple games. He's come up with big play again and again and again, to where this stat line doesn't do justice. Like, I don't want to talk about his 44 tackles or his 2 sacks or his interception or his 4 pass breakups or his 2 tackles for losses or his forced fumble. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about his ability to be a rangy safety, to be a box safety, to play the run, to play the pass. He's able to line up and play one-on-one coverage against tight ends. He's been forced to play up in the slot at times too, and cover slot wide receivers. There's nothing he can't do. And I know we talked about this earlier in the year, and I think one of you three? Somebody, it wasn't me, but somebody in the Blitzloaders group was calling him for Defensive Player of the Year, and it is 100% on. I wish it was me, but it wasn't.
I think it was me. I think I used my dark horses because I felt like he could play that Honey Badger role.
Yes, it was. You're right. I remember you saying that. And I think you were so spot on, Cody, because he has probably added at least 2 wins to this point in terms of just a handful of game-saving, drive-ending plays that he's put together have helped the Bucs so much more than what the stats show. He is a soldier and a general on the field, even though he's being outshined by both Devin White and Levante David because they're the best linebacking core in the NFL. So he'd probably have another 20 tackles if it wasn't for them having a foot race to the ball carrier.
First world problems, Jack. First world problems. So, no, absolutely. Winfield, absolute stud. Let's call it what it is. They've got some stud pieces down there, and he does get overshined because of that. But everything Jack said is spot on. Mayo, I come to you. Talk a little defense.
So I wanted to give a shout out to this guy, J.C. Jackson. I can't believe I'm actually going to talk up a Patriot, but I swear anytime I got my eyes on a Patriot game, he was making plays. He's got 4 interceptions on the year, which is tied for first. He's got 8 pass deflections, 3 fumble recoveries, 18 tackles, 15 of those were solo. He's the number 1 prospect for the Patriots inside the book by Alexander. And I want to say Alexander actually did his scouting report for us, if I remember right, on the site a couple years ago. And he was pretty spot on. And that's one of our hits, I know, from the past in the early days of Blitz. So,
You're wrong.
Yeah, so he's having a stellar year. I know he was in our top 90 consensus list as well. So even though it pains me to shout out a Patriot, like I said, when Bill Belichick and Tom Brady went their separate ways, it kind of eased the hatred a little bit.
Absolutely. Plus, they're losing, so that's always fun.
Yeah, that is too.
Yeah, so we can talk good about a player or two when they're not going to win a Super Bowl. I'm okay with that. So
I hate them just as much as if they were winning this year as I did last year.
Absolutely, no doubt. So Roy, hit me up, man.
So for my guy, this guy's really unheralded. He's really going under the radar, but watching some of the Philadelphia games that I've been forced to because I live in Pennsylvania on Fox channels, Josh Sweat was really a big athletic piece of clay coming out of Florida State. He's in his 3rd year now, guys, and in the Prospect Encyclopedia, as you guys well know, we only allow players in the last 3 draft classes. So he would have graduated after this year. He wouldn't have been eligible. But this dude is coming into his own. He is freakish athleticism. He's a huge dude with a huge frame, 6'5", 265, I believe. 3rd-year player, 23 years old. He was drafted young. 24 tackles, 15 solo. He has 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. He's hit the quarterback 5 times. He's forced 2 fumbles, and he's also got those big, long arms up in the passing lanes for 2 knockdowns. But him playing opposite Brandon Graham has taken a lot of pressure and has kind of allowed Graham to get those sacks that he's up there right behind Aaron Donald with 7. So Josh Sweat, big moldable piece of clay. He was number 9 on the Eagles list for Ryan Lippert when he did the list, but watch out for him. He's kind of a sneaky good player, kind of in that Mario Addison number 2 pass rusher that can put up high quality effort and get you some maybe a double-digit sacks here and there. So Josh Sweat is the guy I went with.
Again, you find the thing working on the crap team and give them a little love here. There you go. That's for Superfan Jay, the Eagles fan, in our chat. Give you a little love here with a tough season. So we've got just a few minutes left, right at 4 minutes. I know we're trying to stay positive here, and we've been talking about the good stuff. Has there been a guy that you're going through the book and you're like, man, you've kind of been a letdown here? Roy, I'll start with you because I know you know this thing cover to cover. I'm trying to catch up. I read it on the toilet every time I'm there. I'm just never going to be you, bud. So, but is there a guy you're looking at and say, man, you were kind of a letdown here?
Well, outside of one play, Jack already mentioned him, Isaiah Simmons. I don't know if it's just the coaching staff or if he's taking longer to adjust to the actual playbook or they're just not sure where to utilize him out of. Isaiah Simmons was coming in to this season as one of the dynamic chess pieces. And outside of one interception to keep Arizona in the game, he's hardly seen the field. And that's hard to say for a guy that was that high of a pick in the first year, especially as a position player outside of quarterback. You figure those guys that go that high are going to see a high percentage of snaps in year 1.
Yeah, again, I was excited for him to go to the Cardinals, right? Like, we were right about the Cardinals being good, but part of that I thought was Isaiah Simmons, and it turns out it just hasn't been. So that's a good name. Jack, do you got a name that you just kind of feel so meh about now?
Yeah, you made me just have to like pull the book up on the spot, because I wasn't ready for it. But I will say, from both like a fantasy perspective, a prospect encyclopedia perspective, kind of the overall consensus, David Montgomery. Especially after Tariq Cohen went down, I expected David Montgomery to kind of go off and have, a huge kind of breakout performance, especially because when he was coming out of college, we knew that he had the receiving ability. We knew he had 3-down capability to his game. But with Tariq Cohen there, why would you have him on 3rd down when you have one of the best, receiving backs in the NFL and this little gadget guy in Tariq Cohen? So I'm super disappointed. Like, he's been putting up stats and like he's averaging like 3.5 yards a carry, I think, but it really just hasn't been there. He hasn't had a breakout game. He's now the lead back. He's literally the bell cow, and we still just have not seen him take over like kind of what I expected. I don't know if that's the Bears, and it's just the fact he's in that offense,
right,
and anybody in that offense is going to be held back. Including Nick Foles, including Allen Robinson, including like the 20 tight ends they have. Like, everybody seems to be having less ability to produce just because they're in that offense, and I don't know why that is.
I find myself watching Bears games and asking myself, does Matt Nagy hate him? Like, it's just like, oh, this is a Montgomery time here, and it's just they just don't do it. Like, he's got the talent, I think. It's just I don't like the situation at all anymore.
I feel like they run him in just like very, very basic situations, like very obvious situations. They don't ever try to get him in space.
They never set him up for success.
Yeah, they don't have a specific set of plays to get David Montgomery going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's not it.
I wanted to go back to something real quick here while we have just a minute left. Rob, you threw out a guy on the offensive player of the midseason here, Laviska Shenault. Talking about Jacksonville, they have some of the guys here we both hit on the offensive side. James Robinson, Gardner Minshew, he is or he isn't, you don't know. DJ Chark. How awesome would it be if you could get Joe Brady to be that head coach down there? Play up the weapons with that, like a Shenault, James Robinson. Maybe you keep Minshew for your starter. That would be a sick offensive combination that I'd like to see.
I think it just needs something creative. It just needs to be creative. That's what Jacksonville needs, is creativity. So, Mayo, we got about 10 seconds. Is there anybody in the book you were just kind of like meh about now? I know. Roy took the low-hanging fruit like a dick. Yeah, he knows the whole book, and he took Isaiah Simmons.
I would actually just say like the rook. Like, some guys have came on, but like just the rookie running back class as a whole, we kind of all thought they would come and kind of grab the bull by the horns. But even my boy JT's kind of been down. CEH is having a great year, but obviously people kind of thought even he would be doing better in that KC offense. And then DeAndre Swift had a couple games, and I know it was my Colts defense, but they didn't really use him much. He disappeared again. Cam Akers, we don't know what he's really doing.
Yeah, Zach Moss banged the shit all year. Played what? 2 games?
Then he played. He had a good game this past weekend, but yeah, just that's kind of been the surprise. I had a name. Oh, and then I was also going to say even just Andrew Thomas. Like, first of all, he was the 4th overall pick, but like I also felt like he was the safer pick, the most pro-ready tackle, and it's been quite opposite.
quite the opposite, in fact. Quite the opposite, in fact. So.
About that, he's had the largest learning curve, and I think that has to do with the fact that he is the least physically gifted tackle, so he doesn't have like that kind of crutch to rely on, like a Jedrick Wills does, can just rely on the power, and Mekhi Becton can just rely on the power. Like I'm trying to reassess my scouting with that, because I was in that same boat, thinking he was the most pro ready. And that form and technique-wise, he was as close to perfect as you can get for someone coming into the draft. But I don't know. It is what it is.
It's kind of I'll take something with that and run, Jack. Like you're saying, you try to learn from some of the guys. I know it's still early; it's year 1, but one of the things I always like banding around is you draft unicorns. So Mekhi Becton, unicorn with that size. I needed to give Wirfs a little more credit than what I did because of his athleticism. That ridiculous freak athleticism made him a unicorn. So I need to take that more into account than I did just having the technical flaws. And we see how much success he's had in year 1 already.
And again, there's just something in players. You want it, you get it. You know what I mean? Like, some guys just want it more than others, man.
Yeah.
It's an immeasurable thing.
Me and Roy would really love some one-on-one time with all these prospects so that we actually know the person behind the player.
Right.
And then we can figure out, what the learning curve is going to be, or the type of player.
Imagine the hit percentage we'd have with interviews. Guys, imagine the hit percentage Blitzalytics would be running at if you had that perk. So we're going to get now into overtime. And, we always try to end it with a little, I don't even know how to say it, a fun topic, an off football amalgamation topic. I'm not sure what to call it.
Might be a sad topic.
But yeah, something fun. So today, being that it is the election and this right here with these three guys, we may not share the same political opinion, but look, we can talk and have fun and be cordial with each other and still be friends. Take that as a fucking lesson. But we're going to throw this out here real quick. Would you rather be POTUS? Would you rather be president of the United States or the GM of your favorite franchise? So real important stuff here. And Jack, I guess we'll start with you because, again, this is the first time in like 20 years you get to be cocky.
I see. Like this one's so tight because how much could you actually get done as president? That we don't know because none of us know until you're actually there. Like how corrupt the system is versus how much like being a good person could have its positive influence on the country and the world. But for me, like, I'm not arrogant or I'm not cocky enough to think that I would necessarily do a better job than what Jason Light's been doing right now. I don't know if I could have hoaxed Tom Brady. I don't know if I personally could have done what Jason Light has done over the last 2 years. So as much as that is my dream job, as much as I would hate the responsibility of being the president of the United States, more than anything for my fandom, I want the Bucs to win, and the Bucs would probably have a better chance of winning right now with Jason Light at the helm than Jack Bourgeois at the helm of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So for that simple fact, and again, that can't be stated for all 32 NFL teams. If I was a Jaguars fan, if I was a Jets fan, if I was a freaking Giants fan, I mean, I can go through the list. There's probably 25 teams that if I was fans of them, then I would want to be their GM. But I'm giving Jason Light just a little bit of kudos right now. Maybe trying to butter that bread for the next time I see him, whatever it may be. But I'm going to go President of the United States. I'm going to say I would rather be at this point President of the United States. And it would basically be me making a sacrifice because I would much rather be doing my dream job than probably, to me, I think, the worst job on the planet, which is being president of the United States. Like, it is definitely the hardest job, most stressful job. I think it's right up there. Like, being an NFL GM, being an NFL head coach. I think NFL head coach, I've made this argument before, I think it's probably the most strenuous job on the planet. I don't know if it's the most stressful, but I think it's the most strenuous job on the planet. Like, because I'm pretty sure Trump or Obama had more golf trips than Bill Belichick has had in the last, however many years.
Look.
So I am going to say I would do that. I would be the best president I possibly can be. I don't know how good that would be. I don't know how good my foreign policy would be. I don't know. I would do good things. Like, I definitely would try to not be a corrupt piece of shit politician, which is what we kind of
that's what you have now.
So, yeah.
Well, for me, this is going to be quick, so I'll answer.
Did I just say something?
Yeah.
Man, Jason Light better light the cigarette after all that.
Yeah, buddy, you filleted him, buddy. Wow. He owes you dinner after that. Is he cooking you breakfast in the morning, friend? So look, I'll be brief with mine. I would rather be an ice road trucker than president of the United States. So this is super simple for me. My team's the Rams. I get a fat salary. I get to live in Los Angeles, California, the premier weather. I get to rub elbows with famous people. Whether we win or not is a moot point based on the history that the Rams have in LA. I mean, so give me GM. But I will caveat it with this. Can I combine the two and not be the GM of my favorite franchise, but instead the team president, where I have less stress, I'm getting paid almost as much, I don't really affect anything, and I get great seats every Sunday. Like, that's where I'd settle, team president. But between the two, definite GM for me. Again, I would rather do what was that TV show where the guy did jobs nobody wanted? I would rather have
Mike
his
Rowe.
job. Yeah, I would rather be Mike Rowe than president of the United
Dirty
States.
jobs.
Yeah, dirty jobs.
job.
Thank you. So
Good
yeah, Mayo, I come to you, president of the United States or GM of the Colts?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do what Jack did to Chris Ballard, despite like the greatness that Chris Ballard has done. Yeah, I'm taking my dream job of being a GM of the Colts. That's all I would love to do is be a GM, not only of the Colts, but any NFL team. And, I kind of like living. And if I would ever become president, I'd probably shake things to the core, when I, implement term limits for every single politician on a government level.
Cody coming and swinging fists as president. He's like, nah, son, throwing bows.
When I would end lobbyism, man,
look, you've already got some votes in the chat anyway.
I ain't trying to go conspiracy theory and say the deep state, but the deep state would probably kill me with the ideas I would have.
Look, man, you've already got 2 votes in chat, too. Eric J. and Pat Pryor are stumping for you out here in the chat.
Cody wins this debate. I would die with the implements I have changed. I take that back. Sorry, Jason Light. I'm going to have that job. Yeah. Cody is 100% right on this argument. Right. I would die. I wouldn't make it through the first term.
I would not. Yeah, this is turning into a very easy discussion. Roy, POTUS or Steelers?
You know what? I think a lot of you guys maybe think I would be taking low-hanging fruit here, but I like a tall task. I have broad shoulders, and I'm taking on POTUS.
Could you imagine President Roy Countryman? The dude's like 17 foot tall. His shoulders are like 10 foot across. Dude, could you imagine sitting across the negotiating table from Roy trying to tell him no? Come on, man.
Or how about this? Trying to be one of the media members that's trying to like bury him.
Mama
at the end of every speech,
no.
At the end of every speech, he says, "Stay humble and be a blessing." How are you gonna dog that guy?
Exactly.
How are the media going to paint this man to be?
But it doesn't matter because the wife in chat put the foot down with a simple nope.
But you didn't hear the best part. It's because I don't have to ever make supper again.
Oh, Roy's like, I'll take any job where there's a private chef, giant house that other people clean for me. I'm down on that.
Well, when you put it that way.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying, as a GM of a team, you can afford that. Hey, we got about 8.5 minutes, so if you're in the chat, tell me what you would be. And I'll try and get it out here on the air.
Because Eagles GM.
Jay is going to be an Eagles GM. I could see that. Look, man, I'm curious, Jay. Throw it out there for me. Would you, as the Eagles GM, move on from Carson Wentz? But, I mean, that seemed to be an easy question and answer for us, GM or president. Look, man, Roy's the only one who's like, I think of other people. Me, I'm like, no, give me that stacks and that Los Angeles weather and them dope tickets.
I will say this much. I already know some of my cabinet members, so. And if Cody has a good policy on health insurance, he might be my VP right now.
Boom! Hey. The Countryman Manning ticket.
He didn't even want the responsibility. What the hell, Roy?
Hey, you can have whatever job you want in my cabinet.
He's all, you can clean the toilets.
I didn't say toilet.
If Roy is president, cabinet. I'll just invent a cabinet position that has like no work, dude. I'll be like
ergonomics,
right?
Like the cabinet.
I'm the cabinet lead of watching Netflix. Like I'll take that job. Like I'm into that.
Making the new beats of America.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. By the way, Jay said he would not trade Wentz. And Mama Countryman says he's not thinking of others. He wants to rule with an iron fist.
All right, the Jets GM this year. Ooh. What is the first move you make?
If I'm the Jets GM?
The Jets GM.
I sell my number 1 overall pick that's guaranteed to be mine for a buttload of capital. And just stack every position other than quarterback and hope I have something in Darnold.
So good, RobRob.
You missed the low-hanging fruit. Get rid of Adam Gase.
Oh, well, that's got it. No, that's definitely happening,
You just said you're trading all your picks, but you have the Google-eyed Adam Gase, like, watching. Well,
you got to make sure you have the first round. You have the first overall pick, so you keep Adam Gase.
Yes.
Security.
I would rather let the janitor coach than Adam Gase. We can go 0-16 with him.
Have one of those betting dogs or cats just run the franchise. Just put a paw on whatever play is going to pay. You'd probably win more games still than Adam Gase. That guy is a damn joke. The only thing Adam Gase was good for was the cocaine eyes meme. Other than that, it's been a complete waste.
That was my favorite Adam Gase moment.
Yeah,
sure.
your cocaine eyes. Good job, Adam Gase. That's what you're remembered
his teeth,
for.
eyes all bloodshot.
Dude, there's no way he wasn't riding the white lightning right then. That's all I'm saying. He was full blown full of boogers.
Well, he had that one coach that got caught in Miami.
Yeah, he did.
The offensive line coach.
Adam Gase probably in the corner over there like, don't tell nobody else here. We got 5 minutes left. We can talk about whatever we want, I guess, here.
I feel like Adam Gase is like bummed that he wasn't coaching the Washington Redskins the last couple of years.
The who? I don't know who that is.
Washington.
Yeah, I said that past tense. I could talk about the prior Washington Redskins. Like I can refer to them in the past tense. I didn't call them the current Washington Redskins. I said the Washington Redskins.
Jack is like that person that says something off color a little bit and he keeps repeating the word. Like he's like YouTube algorithms, see if you can kick us off real quick. I love it, bro. No, he's right though. Past tense,
you can't.
I mean, that's fine.
What do you mean you can't say?
I don't know. YouTube's weird right now. We
can't
have
I
to
say
refer
that?
to it as
always
the
been able to say
pandemic because they'll kick us off if we use the C word. Like, at what point did the C word become that and not the other one? Like,
Don't say it.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not. Mama Countryman's listening. She'll slap the dog out of me next time I see her, so I'm definitely not going to use that word. The wife's sitting here next to me. That's an abuse moment waiting to happen. So I'm just...
Wear long sleeves.
Yeah, wear long sleeves. She puts an orange in a sock, and I learn.
Oh, highlight action.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we got 4 minutes left. That was too easy.
Jack's drinking with John Elway.
Yeah, you guys keep my secret. Keep my secrets off the line. I'm not supposed to be talking about that, all right? We didn't see John Elway hammered drunk playing beer pong. That never happened.
That's not where he caught the virus.
I'm sure it's a similar story though.
Yeah.
All I know is I know what I'm buying RobRob for Christmas now. Tube socks and oranges.
Tube socks and oranges. I will learn to behave or I will be sore. That is the truth.
Flying on my helmet and talking about.
Oh,
hey,
man.
You got to send this man a cup. If anybody's listening on the comment channel, send him a cup. That's
Wilson, we'll take a sponsor. We're looking to get sponsored here, guys.
I'll take any sponsors.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, no shit, yeah.
This has been
sponsored
running
by up with
awesome.
Key City.
Yeah, shout out to Key City.
Soon. Shout out to Key City, but we're looking for a new sponsor.
A very rich sponsor. If you're very rich.
only if you are the richest of rich.
Oh, yeah. I need your money to have money in an offshore account, bro. That's what I need. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Stacks on stacks on stacks. I'm Le'Veon Bell a couple years ago. Back that Brinks truck up or don't talk to me. So.
Just hope it don't end up
and then fire me after 1 year, so all that money's guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. Give it to me, boy. Yes, sir. Again, we got about Go ahead, Jack.
I got this. Where was it at? I had it. Where was it? Oh, okay. I was talking about that stat with Devin White earlier. Devin White's on pace for 136 tackles and 10 sacks. Broderick Thomas from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 1991 is the only player to have such a similar stat line. He had 174 combined tackles and 11 sacks. There is only 6 other players. Reggie White's name appears on this twice in terms of players with 120 plus tackles and 10 plus sacks in the NFL. Clyde Simmons did it in 89. Reggie White did it in 88 and 89, which is insane for a defensive tackle to have 120 freaking sacks and 11 sacks, 120 plus tackles and 11 sacks, and then 133 tackles and 18 sacks. That is insane.
Reggie
and
White
also
was a beast.
Brian Cox, Clay Matthews, and Ricky Jackson are from back in 1994. Clay Matthews from 1984, not the Clay Matthews we know.
Old Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews.
Not
different,
sort of old
different
Clay.
We
got a minute left. I want to go around the horn here. What do you want, Ro? Go ahead.
Brian Cox is a guy that never gets talked about, but that dude could ball.
and he would beat your ass in a bar fight. Like he was a for real dude. Like he would mess you up. I'm gonna go around the horn here. This will be the last opportunity to talk about it on this show before it actually happens, and I want to get your guys' early takes on tape here. So Jack, Cody, Countryman, what do we think AB does his first week with the Bucks?
6 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown.
Cody.
4 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown.
Roy.
Double-digit targets, because Godwin will still be out, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement he's going to sniff the end zone, right? Tom wants to get him going. I'm thinking I like Jack's line the best. That feels the most natural. I like Cody going with the faux though, like it's old Houston basketball days. 8 seconds left, so we're just going to run out the clock like a team. We're in victory formation at this point.
You know what I want to do? End this quarter, I just want to give a shout out to Sir Yacht for not getting one damn trade right. So.
Not one. Not one. Y'all out here acting like clowns on social media, dude. Tired of these fake accounts acting like they got insider information, bro. It's easier to get follows by being a damn bold-faced liar. That's the truth, man.
Yep,
So
sad.
stick with Blitzalytics, where we get the truth out to you, and we do it with analytics and true scouting, not this BS crap.
All I want to know is what are you doing with your life when your goal is to trick Twitter and do fake trades that do not exist?
That's
Like,
your life is sad, man. You
Sounds
live
like a
sad
Madden
existence.
simulation.
Yeah. Well, they offered it to me on Madden, so it's got to
I
be
don't
real.
know. Yeah, Madden's got better trades than that.
Yeah, dude, and their algorithm is crap. So, all right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. We finished overtime. I mean, we could hang out and do this all night, but no. So, we're gonna go around the horn, have everybody plug what they want to plug, and say your goodbyes. And Jack, as usual, I'll start with you, sir.
Go to Blitzalytics.com/shop. Go to Amazon. Go to Barnes & Noble. Go to Target and pick up the Blitzalytics Prospect Encyclopedia today. Physical copy starting at $35. You can get team individual copies for $5 a piece, or the digital PDF for $15. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope your guys' team won tonight. Whatever that means for you in terms of the political race. It'll be okay, everybody. It'll be okay. Political discord and conversation and being friends is okay. We can all be friends after this.
Let's be friends. Cody, before you say your goodbyes, we've got a fantasy question in the chat here. Billy Foster.
Wrong show.
Hey, look, man.
Tomorrow.
I'll take all this chat rate, guys.
We are men of the people. We
traded
we can
Sanders, DJ Moore, and Hawkinson for Julio, Jared Cook, and Mike Davis. Do you think that's a good trade?
Miles Sanders, I assume.
I would assume.
Yeah, Sanders, DJ Moore, and Hawkinson for Julio, Jared Cooks, and Mike Davis. I would say
I kind of feel like you might have got the bad end of it, because I would rather have Miles Sanders for the rest of the season over Mike Davis. I would rather have Julio than DJ Moore for the rest of the year, but I'd rather have Hawk than Jared Cook. In my opinion.
The best player in all of that is Miles Sanders, and he's the only one that's like a guarantee. I mean, Julio's so up and down this year. Julio always is, but you don't know what you're getting from Atlanta week to week, especially Julio Jones. I think Sanders is the only guaranteed starter out of that whole list. So you keep the starter while you got him.
Yeah, I agree. But again, Billy, I don't know what the rest of your team looks like. So if you needed help somewhere, maybe, but I don't know.
Right, I guess if you needed a wide receiver.
Yeah, if you were
desperate and you need help,
I get it.
Sometimes
It's not like
even
we also don't know when.
Bad.
Yeah, and we also don't know when Miles Sanders will be back as well. So.
Exactly. So,
but Christian McCaffrey will be back, so it's kind of
Billy, tune in to the Fantasy Voyage, and me and Cody get more in depth for you, and we'll talk some more about that
tomorrow morning. I literally just reset the script, so
yeah, tomorrow morning we'll be talking about that, Billy. If you want to join in the chat, we do answer all questions in the chat on that show. So, Cody didn't get to say goodbye. I'm sorry, Cody. I'm making you work overtime here and didn't even give you the chance to say your.
No, that's fine. No worries. That kind of led into part of the goodbyes. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Fantasy Voyage between that 10 to 11 a.m. hour. Make sure you do subscribe to our YouTube channel so you know when any of our YouTube shows go live, including this next week. Fantasy Voyage on Wednesday mornings. Friday mornings, you get me on Cody Talks NFL, and then you get Roy on Saturdays for the Steel City Sermon. Also, subscribe to our Blitzlytics podcast network. We're on all major platforms in case you just want to listen to the audio version of our shows if you ever miss us. And then other than that, follow me at Cody Talks NFL. I think that's it. And like Jack said, just remember just to be good people, because I want to do the Fantasy Voyage tomorrow morning. I don't want to go out to the front lines.
Yeah, I don't want to have to be tucking my head between my legs and kissing my cheeks goodbye. So let's act like Cubans tonight, guys.
Yeah. Let's not go to Civil War.
Yeah,
like not all of us are on the same side of this. Like no Civil War.
As the hippies in the 70s used to say, just be chill, dude. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So, countrymen, come to you.
All right, guys. So we all know what tonight is. We're glad to get away from it and talk some football. And whoever you voted for, Jack made a good point. Just kind of take a back seat. But for me, you guys know I'm more of a faithful type man. And when I see everything that's going on in this world, and this is the one time I'm going to talk on it, is I just want to remind you guys of an old song that you probably guys know from when you were a kid and went to church. It's red and yellow, black and white. We are all precious in his sight. Jesus loves us, the children of the world, all of us. So it doesn't matter where you came from, where you've been. We're all in it together. He loves you, and that's where he wants you to be. So that's what I want to end on. No matter what the outcome may be, the sun will come up tomorrow, and just stay humble and be a blessing.
Stay humble, be a blessing. That's how you do it right there, guys. So I don't like to plug anything. You know what I mean? So I do want to plug something for Roy. Roy went a little viral today. You should go check out his article on 24/7. What's the 20? I know it's 24/7 Sports, but what's the actual website title?
It's 247sports.com, but it's mostly the Steelers, Steel City Insider. Jim Wexell's the main guy that runs it.
Give it a check. My man got a bunch of views on it today, so you're going to want to give it a read up, especially if you're a Steelers fan. That'll do it for Football Happy Hour, as you see on the screen there. You can follow me on Twitter at RobRob Graphics. Sometimes I drop cool stuff. Sometimes I say cool stuff. Other times I'm just a waste of time, but still follow me anyway. But we do want to thank you guys, like we do every Tuesday, for tuning in with us, spending your Tuesday nights, which probably would suck without us, let's be honest. So thanks for being here. We look forward to talking to you next week. That'll wrap it up for the show. Have a good one, everybody.
Why can't we be friends?
Why can't we be friends? Yeah.
Why can't we be friends?
Why does it sound like we're drunk?
It's happy hour.